Once upon a time, in a bright, playful village lived a girl named Belle, whose head was always happily lost among the pages. She was so delightfully focused on her tales of adventure that the real world often seemed like a distant, quiet background to her.
Maurice was a kind, eccentric soul whose workshop was full of clanking, fun of machines, and magnificent, wild ideas. His largest, most ambitious contraption, excitedly setting off for the grand local inventors' fair in the city.
Spooky, crooked, playful branches seemed to grab at him, twisting the path until he realized he was totally...
To escape the bitter cold, Maurice stumbled into the empty stables, finding them strangely silent. A massive, scary beast appeared.
Reese was quickly thrown into a dusty, cold prison cell, where he worried desperately about his dear, kind daughter, Belle.
Back at the cozy cottage, Belle grew intensely worried, realizing her father was terribly late.
With fierce determination, Belle quickly rode her horse back along the confusing, foggy path her father had taken.
She found the frightening, grand castle gate, and filled with fierce courage. Finding her father's terrified horse in the stables confirmed her greatest fear.
She found her father shivering in a cold cell, and he frantically warned her to immediately leave before the terrible master appeared. But before she could move, the massive, monstrous beast suddenly appeared. The beast dragged Maurice from the cold cell, and Belle immediately stepped into the lonely, cold pot. Maurice was tearfully sent away on his horse, safe, but leaving his brave, kind daughter.
Belle sank sadly onto the cold stone floor, then had tiny, worried...
Grand, lonely dining hall, the beast paced and growled, arguing with himself about whether he should invite Belle to dinner. Cogsworth and Lumiere recoiled in perfect, synchronized horror, terrified by the beast's loud, unexpected outburst of sudden anger.
Later that night, the two magical servants quietly unlocked Belle's prison door, helping her quickly escape from
Her tiny son, Chip. A little teacup zipped playfully around.
The clumsy beast anxiously rehearsed Vic's gentle apology in the mirror, but kept failing.
Belle walked toward the dining hall, her simple dress looking surprisingly beautiful amidst the lonely castle's dark grandeur. Sat alone at the massive table, facing the enormous, nervous beast across the vast, empty, polished wooden
The
expanse.
beast tried his very best to eat politely, but his bad manners immediately failed him, resulting in loud, splashing slurps. The beast noticed her amusement and instantly looked terribly confused, then incredibly sheepish, realizing his loud blunder. The beast secretly smiled to himself, completely pleased that his awkward grand gesture had successfully brought Bells.
Outside in the fresh, bright snow, Belle lightheartedly built a silly-looking snowman.
The beast secretly watched
Belle's playful antics from his high window.
The beast attempted to join the fun, but he hilariously slipped on the thick ice, missing his target by a mile.
Cogsworth nervously coaxed the huge beast from right under the table, whispering frantic reminders about proper dining etiquette constantly.
Mrs. Potts beamed proudly as the massive beast managed a clean, perfect spoonful of soup without spilling a single drop. The beast secretly listened from his high balcony, completely hidden from Belle's view, captivated by the story and her beautiful voice.
The two magical servants frantically pushed them closer together, hoping their master would quickly get the hint. Beast tried clumsily to perform a kind, gentle gesture, attempting to feed a tiny bird, but only managed to loudly scare it away. The town's boastful strongman pretended to listen carefully, secretly plotting how to use this unfortunate situation to marry Belle.
Belle and the beast shared a quiet, reflective moment, gazing silently at the huge...
Belle, read comfort be at the fire.
The enchanted rose shed yet another petal, which floated slowly downward.
Belle found a secret, shimmering, magical mirror. A peculiar object that showed...
The magical mirror showed her father, Maurice, lost and shivering greatly, struggling... The beast looked deeply conflicted.
utterly torn between his growing affection for Belle.
Belle embraced the huge, furry neck of the beast in a genuine surge of gratitude.
Belle rode away frantically, racing back into the dark, cold forest to find her father and ensure his safety quickly.
Lumiere and Cogsworth sighed deeply, believing the end of the spell was imminent, and that they had utterly failed their master.
Belle brought her father safely home, wrapping him in thick, warm blankets and giving him a comforting, steaming cup of strong tea.
Gaston learned of Maurice's return and immediately finalized his sinister, clever plan to force Belle into a marriage.
In desperation, Belle used the powerful magical mirror to show the terrifying beast to the shocked and horrified villagers.
Her father desperately tried to find a faster, secret shortcut through the very thick, tangled pine trees. The dejected beast remained utterly heartbroken, ignoring the last, fragile.
The angry, torch-wielding mob, led by the furious Stone, finally reached them.
Father finally reached the castle edge, only to realize they were terribly late. The mob was already inside the courtyard.
Gaston and his strongest followers loudly kicked down the massive main doors, entering the Great Hall with destructive excitement. Gaston's clumsy sidekick, LeFou, was quickly tripped by a tiny, quick-rolling footstool, falling face first into a large puddle.
Ignoring the chaos below, began his determined ascent up the massive staircase to find and hunt down the beast alone.
A large group of brave rolling pins and heavy frying pans attacked the mob, swinging wildly like...
The beast began his slow, determined descent down the wide stairs.
Gaston quickly fired his powerful gun, but the beast narrowly and instantly dodged the sudden, bright flash of light and the speeding bullet. Gaston and the beast began their brutal, desperate final fight on the narrow, wet, and slippery rooftop high above the ground. The beast was slow and clumsy, only defending himself with hairy paws, hesitant to hurt the man and unleash his inner anger.
Gaston raised his heavy wooden club high above his head, preparing to deliver the final, powerful, crushing blow.
Decided to show great mercy, gently pulling Gaston back onto the wet, slippery rooftop, sparing his pathetic life.
The beast collapsed heavily onto the cold, wet rooftop, badly wounded and weak.
The beast's massive body was suddenly enveloped in a blinding, swirling burst of pure, golden, magical. The beast's furry, massive form began its swift, gentle smoothing and
Belle reached out slowly and gently touched the handsome prince's human face, recognizing his
stood
true...
back, gently wiping a joyful tear away and giving a proud, gentle, knowing nod to his brave daughter. Down below, the area and Cotsworths were instantly enveloped in a bright, swirling silk.
The handsome prince gently kissed Belle under the soft, gentle, fading rain. A perfect...
Belle and the prince walked down the stairs, hand in hand, as warm, bright sunlight...
Belle and the human prince were joyfully reunited with Maurice and the entire...
Belle and the prince danced their first magical, perfect dance in the fully restored, shimmering, beautiful ballroom.
Maurice happily danced a comical, awkward jig with Mrs. Pot.
Chip, the energetic little boy, zipped playfully around the dancing couples, still full. A single, bright, perfect flower magically appeared in Belle's hand. A gentle.
The camera slowly zoomed out, encompassing the entire beautiful, joyful ballroom.
Belle and the prince sat quietly, peacefully reading together on a plush sofa, sharing one large, interesting book.
Belle and the prince stood under a beautiful garden trellis, quietly watching a magnificent...
Prince gave Belle a perfect, fresh, new red rose, a beautiful symbol of their love and the life they now share.
Maurice showed Chip a tiny, complicated new invention he had built, which immediately started smoking slightly and sputtering.
Belle and the prince danced alone in the softly lit
The prince dipped Belle low in the quiet dance, sharing a soft, final, sweet moment.
And they lived happily ever after, their true, perfect love lighting the entire...
The magnificent castle hummed with a new, joyful energy, particularly in the new...
Now, Human awkwardly tried to learn proper hedge trimming.
Chip and Maurice bonded instantly over their shared love of tiny, quirky contraptions, building a miniature, smoke-puffing model castle.
Obsessed with perfect manners, insisted on setting a ridiculously oversized napkin on the prince's lap, meticulously. Pierre practiced his signature romantic, dramatic bow in front of a giant gilded mirror, admiring his own smooth performance greatly.
The prince laughed heartily as they found a ridiculous, highly unflattering portrait of the prince from his extremely awkward childhood.
Attempted to repair the rooftop damage with a strange flying hammer contraption, resulting in much comical flying chaos. Lumiere and Cogsworth almost collided while rushing to manage dinner service.
Belle and the prince practiced a silly, synchronized dance move, constantly laughing when they accidentally messed up the simple routine.
Lumiere and Cogsworth sighed wistfully, watching the playful chase, feeling immense pride for their happy human master.
Belle found the prince peacefully asleep on the sofa, a massive, heavy book resting.
Hare won the race by hatching an attic for ponies.
Nearly fainted in dramatic, exaggerated horror at the prince's sudden relapse into his terrible, old, beast-like table manners.
Flirted intensely with his girlfriend, offering her a dramatically presented, beautiful flower by the shimmering garden fountain.
Engaged in a playful challenge, stacking books into a huge, impossible tower that wobbled dangerously high.
Cogsworth immediately cringed and covered his sensitive ears in dramatic, sincere horror at the terrible sound of the prince's singing
Belle and the
voice.
prince enjoyed a quiet, peaceful picnic surrounded by the castle's beautiful, magical, glowing flower gardens.
Prince shared a quiet, soft evening walk through the hallways, lit gently only by the light of the flickering candles.
Magically given a fast, thrilling ride on the tiny, spinning Ferris wheel, holding on tightly and laughing loudly.
Belle spent the quiet night reading a huge, dusty, ancient, forgotten book by the soft, gentle light of a single candle.
Lumiere attempted a complicated, flamboyant dance move to impress the maids, but unfortunately twisted his ankle instantly.
Found the lost prince, winking happily and pointing him toward the correct, hidden exit path to victory.
Mrs. Potts patiently instructed Chip on the difficult art of stirring the massive soup pot correctly, despite the giant spoon.
Used his old candelabra magic to dramatically light a huge, massive row of perfectly placed birthday candles instantly.
The prince surprised Belle with a small, intricately carved wooden bird,
that
The prince
immediate...
patiently taught little Chip how to ride a massive, gentle warhorse, holding the tiny reins carefully
Belle
for
and
him.
the prince shared a quiet, warm moment, sipping wine and watching the magnificent, vibrant sunset over the peaceful valley.
Comically attempted to balance a high stack of 7 large dinner plates on his head, failing instantly and spectacularly. 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4.
He wrote a beautiful, new, fantastical story, using the prince and the castle staff as the hilarious, brave characters in her latest tale. Belle and the prince shared a tender, loving moment, the prince gently kissing her hand with deep, profound affection.
Directed a huge team of servants to meticulously polish the already perfectly shimmering ballroom floor constantly.
Belle and the plates played.
Prince attached a tiny, comical wind-up music box to his suit, ensuring he would have his own personal dance music.
Greeted the first arriving guests with his signature overly dramatic, flamboyant, low bow, looking utterly delighted.
Belle and the prince descended the grand staircase, wearing their chosen silly Lumière dramatically flown past like champagne.
Prince and Belle gently removed their masks, their radiant, beautiful smiles reflecting the pure, honest love in their eyes.
And the castle, filled with light and love, shone brightly under the beauty.
Attempted the silly trick, but only succeeded in making his perfectly fine, noble hat comically float far away from his head. Attempted to bake a simple loaf of bread, but accidentally set a small, harmless wooden spoon spectacularly on fire with a zapping sound. Oh, chaotic saps!
Maurice and Chip shared a happy afternoon, sailing tiny, intricate, fast model boats. Belle found a tiny, secret door hidden within the enormous...
Mrs. Potts proudly surprised everyone with a magnificent, gigantic, wobbling, delicious dessert jelly mold, earning loud cheers.
Attempting a feat of grace, tried to juggle 3 apples, but instantly and dramatically dropped them all onto the grass.
Belle and the Prince found a large, dusty, ancient book detailing the strange, powerful history of the castle's unusual magic.
Successfully installed a magnificent, purely decorative, but comically oversized new weather vane machine onto the castle rooftop. The Prince at time? For an attempt.
Belle and the Prince discovered a hidden, ancient wishing, completely beautiful.
Belle and the Prince shared a quiet, playful moment, making a joint wish and tossing 2 glittering coins into the dark water.
Chip was magically given an ancient, magnificent, oversized wooden soldier doll, which was...
Mrs. Potts patiently attempted to teach the clumsy Lumiere the simple art of properly folding the clean, fresh laundry neatly. Rushed in instantly and comically threw a pile of wet sponges at the smoking laundry, soaking Lumiere completely.
Belle and the Prince tried to teach Maurice how to play a new, complicated, silly board game, though the Prince cheated subtly.
And Cogsworth organized books, immediately arguing fiercely over the correct, perfect, highly detailed shelving system. The argument escalated quickly, causing a comical, loud avalanche of dusty, ancient books to fall right down onto their heads.
Chip and Mrs. Potts were caught happily making a secret, fun, delicious midnight batch of warm chocolate chip cookies together. Belle and the Prince shared a telescope, quietly looking at the strange, distant shapes of the huge, fluffy clouds in the sky.
Prince attempted to draw the beautiful cloud shapes, but his final, terrible drawing looked only like a huge, lumpy potato.
Lumiere dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Frantically tried to teach the giggling little Chip the important, sacred art of perfectly keeping a secret all the time.
And Cogsworth sneaked out to secretly prune the rose bush, hoping to encourage beautiful, perfect new blossoms.
Mrs. Potts patiently attempted to teach the prince the simple art of flipping pancakes, but the pancake immediately hit the high ceiling.
Belle retrieved the pancake from the ceiling, laughing, and gently gave the sticky mess back to the determined prince.
Little Chip was caught happily using the prince's magnificent, shining royal crown as a loud, fast, metal-rolling toy.
Cogsworth rushed in instantly, rescuing the crown and frantically polishing it with his sleeve, looking completely horrified by the damage. Attempted to reassemble the old suit of armor, but only managed to make it wobble and pop bizarre springs everywhere.
Belle and the prince shared a telescope, quietly looking at the strange, distant shapes of the huge, fluffy clouds in the sky.
Attempted to draw the beautiful cloud shapes, but his final, terrible drawing looked only like a huge, lumpy potato.
The massive book tower inevitably fell, comically burying Lumiere and Cogsworth under a giant, chaotic pile of dusty paper.
Was caught happily using the prince's magnificent, shining royal crown as a loud...
Cogsworth rushed in instantly, rescuing the crown and frantically polishing it with his sleeve, looking completely horrified by the damage.
Attempted to draw the beautiful cloud shapes, but his final, terrible drawing looked only like a huge, lumpy potato.
Dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Frantically tried to teach the giggling little Chip the important, sacred art of perfectly keeping a secret all the time.
Maurice happily dismantled an old suit of armor, eagerly looking.
Belle and the prince shared a telescope, quietly looking at the strange, distant shapes of the huge, fluffy clouds in the sky.
Attempted to draw the beautiful cloud shapes, but his final, terrible drawing looked only like a huge, lumpy potato.
Dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Maurice happily dismantled a huge old suit of armor, eagerly looking.
Belle and the prince shared a telescope, quietly looking at the strange, distant shapes of the huge, fluffy clouds in the sky.
Attempted to draw the beautiful cloud shapes, but his final, terrible drawing looked only like a huge, lumpy potato.
Dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Frantically tried to teach the giggling little Chip the important, sacred art of perfectly keeping a secret all the time.
Lumiere dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Prince attempted to draw the beautiful cloud shapes, but his final, terrible drawing looked only like a huge, lumpy potato.
Belle and the Prince playfully packed a ridiculously large, magnificent picnic basket, ready for a grand new outdoor adventure.
Maurice and Chip tried fishing with a giant, mechanical, spring-loaded net invention, which comically snapped open, catching...
Attempted to impress Belle with his human strength by trying to lift a huge, heavy, ornate stone statue, staggering back. Cogsworth accidentally threw the large silver platter high into the air during the argument, causing panic immediately.
Belle and the Beast shared a quiet, beautiful moment feeding the slightly aggressive, comical swans by the glassy, still pond.
Belle and the Prince shared a quiet, reflective moment, gazing silently at the huge, full moon.
The Prince pointed to a constellation that looked exactly like exemplifying. Mrs. Potts served the happy villagers a gigantic, comical feast that seemed to magically...
Gave the visiting villagers a formal, slightly frantic, overly detailed tour of the massive castle hallways and architecture.
Distracted the somewhat bored villagers with a dramatic, quick, silly magic trick involving numerous brightly colored handkerchiefs.
Showed a group of excited children the magical, self-turning book, instantly making all of them gasp in complete delight and awe.
The Prince shared a loving moment, planting a new, beautiful, magically glowing rose bush in the freshly tilled garden.
Chip was immediately caught using a tiny, comical fishing pole to try and secretly catch cookies from the high kitchen jar.
The Prince organized a huge, whimsical children's parade, with all the children marching happily around. A prince attempt to sneak a cookie late at night.
Belle found a tiny secret door hidden within the enormous, bright, colorful. Belle and the prince bravely explored the tiny, dark, dusty secret tunnel.
Mrs. Potts proudly surprised everyone with a magnificent, gigantic, wobbling, delicious...
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
The prince happily organized a large, playful game of hide and seek. Maurice and Belle excitedly compared notes, collaborating on a tiny, intricate, fascinating new clockwork invention.
Belle and the prince shared a tender, loving moment, the prince gently kissing her hand with deep, profound affection.
Led the kitchen staff in preparing a massive, comical mountain of beautifully decorated sweet pastries for the large board. Chip was immediately caught trying to secretly taste the icing from the massive wedding cake.
Belle and the prince playfully chose extravagant, slightly silly masks for the upcoming ball, trying on huge, feathered ones.
Belle and the prince gracefully joined the whirling dance, moving joyfully amidst the...
Maurice comically tripped over his own feet, but was instantly caught and pulled upright by the tiny, fast little boy, Chip.
The prince and Belle gently removed their masks, their radiant, beautiful smiles reflecting the pure, honest love in their eyes.
The prince embraced and kissed, surrounded by their cheering, wonderful, happy family and all the celebratory guests.
dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Belle and the prince shared a telescope, quietly looking at the strange, distant shapes of the huge, fluffy clouds in the sky.
Pierre dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Frantically tried to teach the giggling little chip the important, sacred art of perfectly keeping a secret all the time.
Dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Frantically tried to teach the giggling little chip the important, sacred art of perfectly keeping a secret all the time.
Dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Frantically tried to teach the giggling little chip the important, sacred art of perfectly keeping a secret all the time.
Dramatically presented a single, perfect, magnificent red rose to Belle on a soft, elaborate satin cushion.
Belle and the prince stood hand in hand, watching a magnificent sunset over the peaceful, beautiful valley below the restored castle.